This is douglAR politics, yeah. Oh, douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics. douglAR politics. This is douglAR politics, yeah. douglAR politics.
Good evening and welcome to douglAR Politics. Let's start it off because today was a day that we cannot understand. The Honorable Prime Minister Keith Christopher Rowley, his schemes, his shenanigans, his plans, his attempts to interfere and control, his desire to be a dictator has all come unraveled in a gentleman whose brain cannot keep up with the amount of tricks that he's trying. All came crumbling down today. So share the live, because when we get into that, I will explain it to you in great detail. I don't like Keith Rowley. And when I saw a man so desperate, scrambling, I and all felt empathy and sorry for him. I mean, it's good for him because you're more, why? Go there and do your job. Serve people. People are suffering. But you're trying so many things to control every single thing, to do everything how you want to do it in order to procure without procurement, put your people in place, ensure that you could control every department. There must be no independence. No one must question your authority. You just must dictate, and whatever you feel when you wake up, that's what Trinidad and Tobago must be. What a ridiculous position. And it's all coming undone, right on top of Keith Christopher Rowley. But we start off. The disrespect continues across the board, even in sport. Now we are seeing that we have really gone back to pre-colonial days where the coaches are being selected and locals are not even being given a chance by this PNM normalization committee with Haddad, who draw a pay and make sure he's salary there, but then say that the TTFA broken, and Romano, the PNM chairman of NFM, they can't pay people, they can't select. And now the Union of Football Coaches, interim president of Unified Football Coaches of Trinidad and Tobago, UFCTT, Jefferson George, has labeled the appointment of American Constantine Constant as an interim coach of the senior women's team. Now understand what I am trying to tell you. This man, Constantine Constant, is foreigner. He's a futsal coach. Now futsal and football is like comparing MotoGP and BMX, or track and field 100 meters to triathlon, Ironman. They are different sports, totally different concepts, different fitness, different agility, different skill, different movement of the ball, different technique, different technology, different tactics. And this football normalization committee decides to look past all our local coaches, all of our experienced local coaches, all of our coaches just for interim job to coach 2 matches with the women, and they just go to a foreigner immediately. This gentleman, Jefferson George, said the appointment to the temporary position for Constantine marks his first for a national football team. That's what I was just saying. George said, it is unfortunate that we have to dignify such a decision with an interview. Well, I agree with you. It's so ridiculous. The mere fact that that actually took place and someone had to ask a local coach and the members of the Coaches Association about a futsal coach, a foreigner, just getting a work to coach a senior women's 11-a-side team. This is unbelievable, you know. This is a joke, said George. Literally, it is a joke. However, we can't laugh because the joke is on us. If our local coaches cannot be given the charge to oversee 2 games, they choose a foreign coach who's a futsal coach. Now that is one thing for us was confusing, to be honest. I don't know if listeners may not understand, and some might miss the little difference in that futsal is a different game, correct? That is like going to look for a badminton coach to coach a table tennis. I like that example. He said that like going to look for a badminton coach to coach a table tennis team. And that's what this normalization committee of the, even that in the football, Rowley had to get involved. Rowley's normalization committee, Shamfa Kujo's normalization committee killing football and killing sport. But I must say, on a positive note, I like this. Answer Makal Group, I do not like how you run and edit the Guardian Media Limited, because you have my country in crisis. You have us with a prime minister who's a dictator, who's confused, who tells lies left, right, and center, who goes in the parliament and lies on other people without even batting an eyelid. And now his attorney general is doing the same. You keep the most incompetent human being at the helm of our country, and our country is in its darkest state. And Samakal, the owners of Guardian Media. I must say, however, I like this. This was very good. This is marketing Trinidad and Tobago. This could move our culture and our potential for tourism, sport tourism, music, opportunities for the arts producers, soca artists, dancers, videographers. This could be big. This is a bigger move than anything that the PNM government has done in 6 years. So answer Makal and Carib. Even though I don't like all you for keeping my country like this and giving me Rowley, I have to give Jack the jacket and Jim the gym boots. Well done, Archie, show it. Well done.
I'm gonna take you on a trip to the world's most exciting playground.
Can you feel it?
We're gonna be in the ocean,
Feel it?
jet skiing.
Feel it?
It's time to celebrate these wins. You work hard, we're gonna play hard. Congratulations, you didn't play yourself.
Let's get to paradise. We've been living our favorite life.
We're gonna be liming.
Around the world, yeah.
Can you feel it? Another one.
Well, I feel it. Another one. Well done, Carib. Well done. It's the whole Caribbean, but Trinidad and Tobago, if we get inside it, we could get a nice little piece of all the benefits from that. Well done. Brilliantly. I like my soca artists inside of the carnival costume. We are the best. Don't mind now under COVID, under PNM. We well behind and everybody else taking up with thing and running with it. But I like that. Also, I must say congratulations to DJ Bravo. Bravo, I tell you, is just a winner. Man, go on and win the IPL. Bowley last over, playing well, helping his captain MS Dhoni. He win the CPL just before that. He win a few titles before that with Trinidad and Tobago Knight Riders. Bravo is a winner. World Cup's cricket starts tomorrow. But all you didn't make him the captain. You didn't make him the vice captain. Boy, me, I don't know nothing. All you go ahead. CXC records the highest absenteeism for Cape and CSEC. First of all, let me say congratulations to all the children that I was seeing with great results and so on. Well done. But I always worry about those at the bottom, because you see, a society is only as good as we take care of everyone. So those who are having more problems and difficulties, that's where we need to focus. Those who have good parents and teachers and everybody focus and the family focus on them, that's great and that's brilliant. When you are in government, you have to help those who need the most help first. And we are seeing that 8.3% of students did not show up for their CAPE exams. And for CSEC, 11.23% were also absent. That's not good. When you see those figures and you calculate the numbers, those are people dropping out of the school system. Their futures could be in jeopardy. And if you don't catch them and catch their talent, identify their talent, and create opportunities for them, then we are going to be spinning top in mud, and the vicious cycle will continue, and the crime scourge will continue unabated. No water this weekend in South and Central because Desalcott has shut down, and they're going to repair pipelines, Desalcott. Now think about if Trinidad and Tobago did not have Desalcott that the United National Congress built with Ganga Singh and Bastio Pandey with Kamala Prasad Bisesa in the cabinet. If there was no Desalcott, I'm going to read out for you here the communities that are going to be without water because of the shutdown and the maintenance work at Desalcott, on top of the 24/7 supply under the Minister of Man being the lowest in history at 17%. People have no water all across the board, but all this man could do is look for man in a van. Absolute failure. But let me tell you, if UNC was not in government for that 5-year period, 6, because Ramesh and Romeo and them went wild, because again, each man for themselves, and if you don't get exactly what you want, sink the ship and bring down the country. So Ramesh, Romeo, and Sudama and Ralph Maraj bring down the UNC under Bastio Pandey, but not before he built the Desalcott plant. And this clong here come in, and nobody could get water. People, even them handing out water tank, and the water tank can't get full. It holding air, it catching mosquito. So this weekend, all now so, here are the areas that will be without water, on top of all the areas that don't have water. Central, Carani, Warrenville, Cunupia, Shagona, Scaparo, Chase Village, Couva, Point Lisas, California, Claxon Bay, Pleasant Park, Point-a-Pierre, City of San Fernando, Vistabella, Marabella, Gasparillo, Union Hall, Pleasantville, in Southwest, Palmis, Philippine, Duncan Village, Esperance, Gulfview, Bel Air, La Romaine, South Oropuch, Otahiti, Roselac, Aripero, parts of Labre, Avocat, Faizabad, parts of Separia, including the Gans Village and Quarry Village, San Francisco, Debe, Sign Village, Lockwood Trace, Sunrise Trace, Mora Dam Road. All of those places will be without water because the UNC, the Salcott plant, is being maintained. Move the minister man now. From the minister man, I see Donna Cox and her ministry cutting a ribbon and they're promoting, hear what they're promoting. End Poverty TT Week. So them having a week of whatever celebration to end poverty TT in a week after 6 years of PNM, new society, wean the people off of the government. Donna Cox, a week you could undo what y'all have done in 7 years. When y'all came into government in September 2015, the poverty rate was 16.7%. Before COVID-19, that reached up to 23.8%. Now in COVID-19, because of the lack of management, the thwarting, the impossible policy, the lack of science, the ridiculous lockdown, shutdown, and breakdown, the mashup of jobs, job loss, unemployment in COVID, the poverty rate is now 44%, and now it's going to get worse. Children have lost their education for 2 years. That could never be recouped. 2 years, you have 11.3% of children not even showing up for their exams. 8.3% in Cape not even showing up. You have 38,000 children who have not had any laptops, and that goes on top of those who are qualified and are looking for jobs. Over 5,700 people with degrees, young people with degrees cannot be employed and have not been employed. Our country is in a mess, and you cut a ribbon to celebrate End Poverty TT Week. Y'all, what is wrong with y'all? How you going to end poverty? You playing games with hampers. But who you giving hamper? You give a counselor up in St. Augustine in the Sawa Lavanti Corporation in St. Joseph, 2 hamper for 11,000 burgesses. You have not given the children school feeding in COVID. You all cut school feeding from Tim Gopi Singh and Kamla up at 74,000 breakfasts and lunches per day, down to 48,000. During COVID, when children went home, you all boasting that you're feeding 20,000 children. That means you left 28,000 out there. Poverty is real. Petrotrin is shut down. People not getting their jobs. ArcelorMittal shut down. 11 companies in Point Lisa shut down. Jobs across the board. Everybody lost. People in spin-off, multiplier effect, losses in the Southwest Peninsula, ghost town, restaurants, caterers, hair, nail tech, hair, makeup. All of these people lost jobs and gone into poverty. All you're cutting a ribbon to celebrate. It's so stupid I can't even remember what it is. End Poverty TT Week. Look, my goodness. And then the editorial of the Newsday, the issue of state support. We agree with Minister, yes, Newsday, you would always agree with a PNM. Let's hear what you agree with a PNM now, Judy Raymond. We agree with Minister of Social Development Donald Cox's statement that it is important to break the cycle of dependence on state grants and for citizens to be empowered to be self-reliant. Really? And how are they going to get empowered to be self-reliant, Newsday? The PNM has cut NESC, MIC centers, cut GATE in half. Fazal Karim had it at 800 million. They cut it down to 400 million. They cut funding for sport. There's no sport industry. They cut jobs across the board. There's no investment in culture. There's no investment in agriculture. There's no investment and diversification in agro-processing. There's no work in the energy sector. All of the peripheral services are moving to Guyana. Where are we going to get these reliable, stable jobs for people? Newsday. The government has no plan. They never had a plan, and people are hungry. So don't criticize grants and say that people are greedy. Don't try to give us that impression that citizens are greedy. Citizens are hungry because the government has not created an atmosphere or an environment that they could see about themselves. The government has failed. Just to tell you another thing, over a month ago, David Lee was calling, crying out and begging, trying to call Clarence Rambarat all hours of the morning while some of his constituents were suffering. Their houses were collapsing under ETEX quarrying, indiscriminate quarrying. And David Lee called Clarence Rambarat 13, 14 times. But he's so tired and exhausted from liming with Boudit now. You know, they do a lot of extracurricular activities with Boudit. If all you know who is Boudit. Boudit is the whole house man. The man who owned Copacabana. Ask Clarence, Rowley, and Faris Al-Rawi, because all of them like to lime with Boudit. Ask him why he couldn't wake up to answer David Lee, MP David Lee call. And when he called, eventually answer, Donna Cox run down. Yes, man, look, your boy Boudit, man. Copacabana. And you lost confidence in Gary Griffith. Why? Because he was shutting down some of them Copacabana. Boudit call you. You lost confidence in Gary Griffith. How you lost confidence in Gary Griffith? Let me wait. All you share the life. I come in to deal with Rowley Fulbo. Alright? But remember Claxton Bay? Donna Cox show up with she big wig and weave and thing to say, yes, help is on the way. We promise help. 1 month later, not help. People house still mashing up, no relocation, no assistance, nothing. Right? But the PR stunt done. Agriculture Minister Clarence Rambarat. I'm still cleaning up UNC mess. Look, boy, I don't know where they find you. You are the biggest loser in the history of politics. You try all kind of seat and get licks. And now you just talking nonsense. And you when let me tell you, my mother say you must let people stay quiet if you're not bright. And let people feel you're bright. Clarence, because every time you open your mouth, we realize what an idiot you are. You still 6 years later cleaning up UNC mess in agriculture. Well, Vassant and Devant, I want you all to deal with Clarence because Clarence is saying, Rambarat said, I have never heard of you fishing at a landing site of Ravi Ratiram. He also said Ratiram's predecessor, Ramona Ramdial, was more visible in Couva North and he was than Ratiram constituency. Rambarat said, I am still cleaning up the mess under the UNC-led People's Partnership Coalition government. He said, I can't even read this stupidness this man has talked. But, Vassant, you should be liming with him now. You on the road to recovery PNM committee. Vassant, this man is attacking you. Vassant, he's saying you made a complete mess and you were corrupt and did nothing in agriculture. Are you going to come out and deal with him and set the record straight, Vassant? I am not going to do so today for you, Vassant. You on your own. The man say you wasn't good in agriculture. You was the Minister of Agriculture. The other one was Devant. The man say, all you make a mess. And then, moving on, move him. Me defending all you now, and all his PNM. Well, go ahead. Roger won. He wants NP Rogue Board gone after LPG debacle. I agree with you, Roger. The board lie. They lied. They said it was a rogue employee. The employee just went mad and went to increase and put a service figure. When we checked the board, no, the board decision, they were discussing this and they were handling it. They saw a problem and so on, and they had to get direction from the minister. Them come out and say, oh, we sorry, small pin. All they should resign. I agree with Roger. And Roger, I find we going good, you know, because Roger said, and I quote, Kamla Prasad Bisesa is correct. The budget 2021-2022 fiscal is a war on the people. Roger, I telling you, I'm going with your butt. You know, Archie entered at restaurant. I changed my tone a while ago, Archie. Well, I see like it working. So, Roger, let me work because we had to move Rowley. Rowley is the darkest cloud in the history of Trinidad and Tobago. You don't have to like me, Roger, and I don't have to like you. But we have to get together and unite to remove this dark cloud of PNM from over everything in Trinidad and Tobago, from the labor, disrespect to labor, to workers, to pothole, to infrastructure, to water, to TNTech, to no jobs, no creation, no agriculture, inflation killing people. We have to get together. Enter change my tune that she played. Let me double check. JTAM accuses government of imposing a Taliban-like property tax. Speaking on behalf of JTAM, Anil Roberts, the leader of the JTAM, he said, you know, Joint Trade Union Movement. Oh, there's my brother, man. Anil Roberts says, if government imposes property taxes on citizens at the height of a pandemic, it could be the proverbial straw that breaks the camel back. You know what, Mr. Roger? You know I don't like you. You know I don't respect you. You know I believe that you have made some terrible choices. You and you alone would know what motivated you to make those choices that made no sense. You ain't getting no refinery. You went in there, you did your best, you helped put Rowley as Prime Minister, help him go back. They held a carrot out to you saying, yes, you're going to get the refinery. You ain't getting no refinery. All your work has gone through. The OWTU is the weakest that it has ever been. But all right. All right. I got a bit of inspiration and the douglAR change in this week here. Okay, Roger, I was reading this and I'm saying to you, you don't like me and I don't like you. Okay, sir. But I agree with what you're saying. And I agree that this government, Keith Christopher Rowley, is the most anti-labor government in the history of the Caribbean. And I don't say that easily. He has not negotiated. In fact, he attacks Kamla Prasad Bisesa for having negotiated and completed negotiations with labor. The money that Kamla Prasad Bisesa made available to pay back wages and back payments to labor and different labor unions, he described as profligate spending, wastage. So let's see. You now see that Rowley is an existential threat to labor and to the very existence of Trinidad and Tobago. I love Trinidad and Tobago. So I am saying to you, Mr. Anil Roberts, all what I say about you before, forget that. I'm not saying it wasn't true, it was true. But right here, my mother always say, you can't keep talking about that. You have to solve the problem. So Anil Roberts, Anil, they call me. Tell me how we fixing this problem. How we getting this problem. How we moving forward with a labor agenda. You see, I even have on my OWTU style shirt. Exactly. And I see it happening. Right? So, all of us, and that goes for everyone. We don't have to like each other, we don't have to lime, we don't have to invite each other to birthday party and go on the beach and go down the islands and go in the river and go on hike. But what we must do is find a common solution to a devastating problem. And that problem is Keith Christopher Rowley. Keith Christopher Rowley is the worst leader of the PNM in the history of the PNM. The PNM at its best was not good. So imagine at its worst. It's horrendous So each and every one of us must come together under the red, white, and black and unite under the leader of the opposition, Kamala Persad-Bissessar, to get her back to the job that she deserves, that they lied on her and got her out, and they cheated with the EBC, and they cheated and they gerrymandered boundaries, and they put partisan people in charge of an independent institution to play games with our electoral process. And she was not defeated properly, and lied on by the man who is now calling us, all of us, the representatives of the United National Congress and our 309,000 people, he's calling us chimps, imps, and pimps. Really, Rowley? We are imps, chimps, and pimps. So Indian is monkey, African is monkey, all the African who vote for UNC and support UNC and don't like you is monkey. You want to give me banana? Or is that a racist statement? And we are imps? You're the biggest imps, you dotish clown. You want to get pump from a school girl and you talking and calling people imps? And who is pimp? Archie, put up, let me see pimp. Daddy, you ever find it? Well, put up the one with the, if you ever find the one with Rowley, Archie, put up the one you just had with the mystery man, because we know it's Rowley. Rowley that is really all right, we there. You see how he chest busting out. But you was with this man sitting down on the couch. You who is pimp? No, leave it up, Rowley. You calling people pimp? That the Copacabana man, that the whole house man, that your friend you was rhyming by, you was big pimping with the big pimp, and you calling people pimp? Move it there. Rowley, you are no shame. There are no bigger pimp than you. You forget who does create and move with pum-pum governance? You forget that? Any girl who give you some pum-pum get a work, whether it's to be minister bundles, whether it's to be minister weave, minute big work, in UDCOT CEO, go down the line, or if you want to get a high commission work, Rowley, you is the man who don't even take care of your outside children, you calling people pimp. Rowley, catch your falling self, boy. Catch your falling self. You forget I see you in the golf club. Winding up on a big 400-pound pink thing like a little glad man. Don't get tired up, you know, Rowley. I know you a long time. You is a shame as a black man. I shame to be a ballhead like you. You are disgusting. Look at you. That way you have to go by boot it to get pum-pum. You calling UNC people pimps. Look, Rowley got scratch, yes, boy. 11 more COVID deaths in Tobago told now 91 after Rowley invited people to come and infect and bring COVID-19 disease to ravage Tobago. Tobago was a pristine bubble of brilliance because the Tobagonians were handling their situation very well with real doctors who were going with the science. And then this clown with a stupid, ugly Anglo-Saxon socks, playing like he is some big pimper, where the ugly socks come and say, come to Tobago, this time it's not the ferry, and now 91 Tobagonians dead. Or you should make him go to all 91, all 91. You could put a friend too. I will put the left foot, right foot, no rhythm. He and Rowley is the same thing, because Rowley feel it pink like he. Right? You always should make Rowley go. When he come to campaign for 15 seats that he instruct the EBC, make Rowley attend all 91 memorial services for all the Tobagonians who died of COVID after his invitation for Trinis to come across 50,000 to infect Tobagonians. That's what all you should do. The ministry, vaccine cards, not only proof accepted. Yeah, vaccine card. Right? That is the only proof to be accepted for what? Safe zone. So natural immunity does not count for safe zone. So the PNM is going against the Lord Almighty, Supreme Being, whatever you call your Lord, your God, who created human beings and created us with an immune system and an ability to fight off infection. And natural immunity is scientifically proven to give you the same sort of efficacy as the vaccination, fully vaccinated people. Where's the natural immunity card? You don't have that. So Rowley and the PNM are higher than God. So they are taking away God's work. That's what you all are trying to tell me. Why are we able to go in a water park by Rahal and go and play with Rowley friends and go in a chlorinated place with recirculating water that go through a pump and so on, and everybody could go in a water park, but we can't go on with beaches and the rivers. What sense that make? And he telling you that you all could hold your breath. You in the bars, you may be able to serve alcohol on November 1st, and y'all are listening to this clown, this dictator, this imps who calling people pimp, but he liming in the house with the biggest pimp. And this one who are outside children that he leave outside, a teacher who uses power to get pum have the audacity to talk down to people and call people names. A man who procure without procurement, a man who when he was in charge gravel rolled from by a hospital to somewhere by a man who had only friend and family just getting, a man who wanted to make Rahal the king of Trinidad and Tobago, Rowley. All your COVID-19 thing makes no sense, just like your prime minister makes no sense. Even bring in Fuad Khan. Fuad Khan, tell them now, run it.
We are the Ministry of Health Chief Medical Officer, the Principal Medical Officer, and the so-called epidemiologist, together with the Minister of Health and the Attorney General. They are working on a process of fear. Fear to the point of frightening you and locking you down, using a state of emergency to beat on you, putting curfew which makes no sense in place, and now they are coming up with new crap, opening safe zones with fines of $25,000 on the business people and $5,000 on the unvaccinated entering these safe zones. In these safe zones, you're putting on your mask, you have social distancing, you have all kind of the regulation assness that the Ministry of Health Chief Medical Officer has proposed, and also you have the Principal Medical Officer. All junior doctors, let me tell you, none of them have a specialist status. One spent years in insect vector, the next one spent years knocking around the place as a GP, and the next one, God knows where he went. And the thing about it, they are determining the process of Trinidad and Tobago. And because they hold public service positions, because they went and do a 1-year MPH course, they can now tell you to put on a mask on your face when you're exercising, to put on a mask on your face when you're out in the open air, close down your beaches, put on a mask in your car when you're with your family. All this rubbish does not occur in a country or a state of the Florida and different parts of England and Norway and different Singapore, because it makes no blasted sense. These people are dumb, dotish. They've also created a process in the airport to run tourists. They're so stupid. They can't use QR codes and barcodes properly. Why are you interfering with people coming in who have already put on a travel pass? What is wrong with you? Then you go to a restaurant, you can't have any alcohol in it? What am I talking? All from AA, Alcoholics Anonymous or something? You all doing an addiction program? No gambling, no this, no alcohol, no that. Who the ass you all think you all are? What the hell is wrong with you? How does that stop COVID, you bunch of fools? Open air and sunlight causes a decrease in the virus and the virus load, but you shut down beaches like some damn idiots.
Yes, open sunlight. Look, he calling people pimp with Mr. Ho Houseman here, Copacabana, smiling, honey goat weed. Where you went? You went down in the Copacabana after. You in the man house, holding up the man hand, rubbing the man leg, and you calling people pimp? You bald head clown, eh? You calling UNC people imps, chimps, and pimps? Why you lying with your whole house, man, boy? Eh? And that's why your bank account went down. You was telling Sharon, but I look at this bank account here, and it went low. When it went low, after you went Copacabana with this one, eh? Mr. Pimp, and you calling people pimp? Boy, go and scratch your bald head self, boy. Move in, man. And let me tell you something. You all are listening to that clown, and he is dictating the pace while we are suffering in Trinidad and Tobago, red, white, and black. And all you want to study who like who and who do this and come on, man. Everybody had to focus on getting that clown out of that Prime Minister office. No, not waiting. Right now. 2 fully vaccinated citizens die of COVID-19. You see? But yet they're trying to discriminate. 2 fully vaccinated citizens die of COVID-19. They took Sinopharm since May and June, husband and son. A lady is suffering, she loses her husband who she loves and her son. Fully vaxxed. And then in Tobago, fully vaxxed get Delta. So that's the point. Vaccination is a protection, yes. But immunity, natural immunity is also there and could give you protection also. And then also if people have a choice and they educate themselves and they don't want to put that in their body, you must not discriminate and create safe zones that discriminate and can create rancor and talk about people killing others and others being a danger to others. What nonsense are you talking in this country? This vaccine vagrant Rowley who was playing games to procure without procurement so somebody could get a kickback did not allow the real vaccines to come in early. He did not beg. He did not procure, did not have an education program to educate people, did not go out. Now they just tell you, take your jab, take your jab. And if you don't take your jab, you get fined. And he bullying and shouting down. Never mind, he nearly get COVID 4 times with his dumb self. 297 cases yesterday. But we are locked down, shut down, and broke down. Economy shattered, people suffering, over 205,000 people without work. 11 deaths in 24 hours from COVID-19. Also, many questions still being asked. People with 86% oxygen intake and 92% being put on ventilator, and 2 hours later, heart attack and dead. And where are the specialists? The specialist doctors that have been rotated out, and Davlin Thomas and Convan Gill, 2 dunce who know nothing about the health system, were not intelligent enough to become doctors. They in charge of specialist doctors. And you all find that pimp daddy who liming with the whole house man is a man to look up to and to take instruction from. All you could take instruction from me. You see, it's a good thing I up in the upper house and me here to sit down and see here, you know. It's a real good thing. Because if you tell me if I was a Poochies and he tell me about pavement, I'd have jump over the ride there and say, why wait? We have cameras here. Record. You understand? This clown who like to threaten people and bully people and call people imps, chimps, and pimps while he's interfering with every independent institution in this country. 4,315 active cases in Tobago. Delta, Tobago 4. National, 75 cases of Delta now. And then from one clown to the next one, a Talbot saying, remember them 2 cutlass vessels that come? Yeah, that Talbot. I agree. He always sleeping. He always sleeping. When he killed the dog, he was sleeping. But he wasn't sleeping when he posts up the murder of the dog. You understand? It's for the whole world to see the car running over the dog. Like that was something that my child would like to see on Facebook. A little puppy getting killed over and over. This fool. But here this fool, when pressed by Rodney Charles about the beach, about the recently Coast Guard vessels being unable to go to the scene since they had no fuel. Here at Talbot Hines, he said he didn't reply to somebody saying something in a newspaper, since that wasn't the way the government behaves. He said he relied on what the Coast Guard said, right? So his action, he is the minister elected by the people to serve the people and keep the people safe. People go out, find a dead body, they give a report that the Coast Guard, and live on Facebook showing it, that the Coast Guard that they saw told them they can't come there now because they don't have no fuel. And this clown say the extent of his duty is to ask the Coast Guard, hey boy, all they had fuel? And they say yes, Jed. And that is it, zest and bless, forget the people. And you all vote for that. That's his answer. when Rodney Charles is showing, but look at the budget allocation for the last 6 years as compared to under Kamala. You have given the Coast Guard 10% of the fuel that Kamala's government gave them. And therefore, that is why every independent institution has been corrupted and interfaced and intervened by the PNM. Remember the same man, the Coast Guard man, come out and try to tell all you, well, we do 1,000 hours in 8 days. He so want to lie for the PNM, he make himself an idiot in front of all the children in the whole country. And this clown continued. Here, Hines, we have here in Parliament the senior Coast Guard commander, and he said there have been no reports of any lack of fuel for any Coast Guard vessel. So you can continue this, who say, them say, she say, drunkenness. He talking about drunkenness. He, Mr. Sleepy, because your PNM appointed person in the Coast Guard say there are no fuel, it's very simple. If you have $100, you could buy X amount of fuel. If you only get $10, you could buy only this much fuel. That is very simple. At Talbot, you disgraceful clown that has this entire country in a constitutional crisis. Delta variant coming in illegal immigration going unchecked, our borders porous, crime going out of whack. You have no police commissioner. The police don't know what to do. The bad police know what to do. Human trafficking increasing, kidnapping, murders, robbery, all kind of madness going on in this country. And more PNM. Court to rule on Calypsonian suspension from TTPS over PNM screening. So, yes, or every time you see a police officer and they finish or they retire, they just end up in a Balize shirt. That's not good for the police service. That's probably why they don't like Gary. Barack, hear this now. So crime going unchecked, right? Barrackpore residents who were protesting about roads, hear what the police did to these human beings. Let me read it for you now. And then you all think about where we are with this PNM dictatorship and this police state. Resident Kishan Maraj, who operates a business at his home, yesterday said police searched several homes in Barrackpore and seized video footage on Tuesday. He claimed that around 2 to 3 p.m., about 30 heavily armed police officers stormed his home with no warrant in search of the DVR system, complaining that some of the officers wore no mask, ignored the COVID-19 guidelines, and walked through his house with their dirty shoes. Maraj is now fearful that he and his family, including his elderly parents, have been exposed to the virus. I told them that they could take the recordings but leave my camera and DVR. Now listen to this, no warrant, nothing, 30 police running a man's house to look for CCTV footage to find out who was protesting in the road for the bad roads that exist. No warrant, and this poor citizen don't even know his rights. He tell them, yeah, all you take the DVR, but leave my cameras. He don't even know that they're not supposed to be in his house, that they cannot just rush and bully. This is not a police state. This country has laws. We are governed by the rule of law, not by PNM mongoose gang. And why was this? Why? Because the Ministry of Work said Rohan, the honest Indian who does build interchange into his own property and into a bucket of spicy crispy chicken and build bridge and change course of river, only warehouse that he owned does have. The honest Indian, Rohan Sinanan, say, this comes on the heels of the Ministry of Works and Transport warning that the police are investigating and appropriate legal action will be taken. Right? 30 officers gone down to a man's house. He wasn't in no protest, but the protest happened around by his business. And they gone to get his DVR to find out which citizens were protesting to charge them 30 police. But look what, Archie get that video ready. But look what happening just in the streets just so. But 30 police going to take instruction from the honest Indian Rohan Sinanan to get something to argue, to protect, to see who was protesting and see if you could catch a UNC who was protesting to do what? But while 30 police running in an innocent man's house without a warrant to take a DVR, look what's going on the streets just so in Trinidad and Tobago. Run it, Archie. Bollier sent 30 police without a commissioner of police to go in somebody's house to look for footage to try to charge and waste police time to charge people with protesting for roads that are deplorable. This country has gone into the cesspit. Right? Munilal and Rodney Charles say you owe it to the residents to apologize from the disconnected Sinanan, Oropuch East MP and Naparima MP. Rodney Charles and Rudal Munilal said that they must have an apology from the Minister of Works to the people of Trinidad and Tobago after this ministry issued a statement on Monday describing the protest action by the residents as irresponsible and unpatriotic. Where the police to go and get the CCTV camera to get them bandits. Look how bandits moving. Bold face. Because Double G not there. And Rowley said, no problem. Fitzgerald said, you don't need a commissioner of police. You don't need a deputy commissioner of police. It's a paramilitary unit and the sergeants will sergeant and this one. These idiots that you all have running the country. This clown here. Watch. Look how he hugging up the woman. Hand all on she chest. Huh? Mr. Pimp Daddy. I never see that picture. Look how that woman in the back watching him. That's the face. She is correct. She is looking at him with disgust at the way he is carrying on. Right? Watch that. Yes, man. Very good. I don't know anything pink. Bad time for police distraction, says the Express. It would be surprising because Keith Rowley said, no problem. No commissioner, no deputy commissioner, no problem, things good. Even though 317 murders, people die in robbery, busted. Look how that fella just walking with gun open and walking down. The one in the orange have on a slippers. So them don't even plan to run. Because them know Double G gone and police moving how they want. Different groups, they have no unity, no thread of command, no plan, no attack policy, no teamwork, because they have no leader. Rowley said there's no problem. Everybody's safe. But all are we dead in and getting robbed every day, and all you find out right. Vote PNM. It would be surprising if the collapse of the Police Service Commission and the confusion surrounding the appointment of a police commissioner did not affect the morale within the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. Exactly. No organization performs its best under the kind of uncertainty now existing at the very top of the TTPS, where one leader is on the job providing operational leadership while the other one is outside with a claim and so on. This point is worth underscoring in light of intensified gang activity, which is claiming multiple lives on a daily basis, with murder statistics for 2021 now running neck and neck with last year's. But the commissioner that Rowley won, because he have a problem with Gary Griffith, and is a whole year now, we're coming to analyze that for you, a whole year now, he lost confidence in Gary Griffith. But he have confidence in this man. Hear the man. Contacted about the apparent upsurge in gun violence over the past 2 weeks, Acting Commissioner Jacob, this before the court case, right, confirmed there was indeed a surge in gang violence in Port of Spain and the northern divisions, but he said this was nothing new. You fill me with confidence, sir, that you are going to attack that problem of a surge in gang violence and so on. You are going to attack that. Well, yeah. But if you don't think it's a problem, what you're going to attack? The man said that is nothing new. That is normal, that man say. City police, Rowley say, no big thing. Crime is under control. No need for commissioner of police. City police to escort garbage truck in East Port of Spain. A garbage man get killed, crossfire and so on. So now police now have to go and escort garbage trucks in East Port of Spain, but Rowley tell all everything is good. A man lured to his death. Victim answered Facebook. This is one page in the papers that Rowley say crime is under control. Everything is fine and dandy. Lured to his death. Victim answered Facebook car ad. 2 killed in Port of Spain. Pushing toll to 317. A body found floating. That is one page, you know. And today of all days, was the day where Rowley confessed. Keith Christopher Rowley confessed that this entire constitutional crisis was of his making. And he stated that he had lost confidence in Gary Griffith a year ago. Why did he lose confidence a year ago? It was a year ago approximately when he got up talking off the cuff and talk nonsense about police going up in people's house without warrant to arrest people for COVID-19 health regulations and so on and so forth, breaches. And Gary Griffith had 8,000 police who had to work. And Gary Griffith corrected the record and said, no, we do not have the authority to come without a warrant into people's house, and the health regulations do not provide that. So Gary Griffith was just upholding the law. Rowley find that Gary Griffith, since then, he lost confidence. Rowley lost confidence in Gary Griffith. Yeah, but so what? That is not your work. Who cares if you lost confidence in Gary Griffith? You're the Prime Minister, you're the head of the executive. We have a separation of powers. It's not your business. You could lose confidence in whoever. And why did you lose confidence in Gary Griffith? Because he didn't do what you say? That's the point of having an independent commissioner of police appointed by an independent police service commission who would independently determine who is to have confidence or not in them. You, as the Prime Minister and the political directorship, who should be under investigation by the very Commissioner of Police, whether you have confidence in the Commissioner of Police or not is irrelevant. But now that we know that was in your head, we can now follow the decisions that have led us to where we are today in this constitutional crisis based on the information and the confession that Rowley made today. But let me just ask you all this. If a murderer, a thief, or a gang leader lost confidence in Gary, could they write to the Police Service Commission and say, hey, I don't have confidence in Gary, you all have to try and do something to move him? Could they? Think very carefully, you know. So why did Rowley think that he could? Rowley is under the law also. Rowley is not to interact or interface or intervene or interfere with the Police Service Commission. The fact that he admitted that he wrote them a year ago to say he don't have confidence in Gary Griffith is interference, meaning that he was trying to influence the independent process of the selection of a commissioner of police from a year ago. So his interference began an entire year ago. It was premeditated, planned, and then implemented to reach where we are today. He talked too much. You see, when you lie and you're not bright, you should hush your mouth sometimes. It is not your place, Rowley. You are in charge of policy, not operations. Separations of powers, rule of law dictates that in our constitution. Rowley, you're losing confidence in Gary. is actually a resounding endorsement of Gary's excellent performance. The mere fact that you, Rowley, lost confidence in Gary is an endorsement that he's doing his work, because you, sir, have run roughshod over every law, convention, and principle of corporate governance known to Trinidad and Tobago. You, sir, are the man who stood and did not recuse yourself while your best friend and financier was being investigated by the board and the minister that you appoint. You, sir, are the one who put your personal attorney, after shutting down an entire corporation and mashing up the foreign exchange situation in the country, suffering hundreds of thousands of people for the last 4 years, and people losing works, jobs, and businesses. You put your own personal attorney to oversee an energy company when he had not an iota of experience in energy whatsoever, and then ignored Deborah Peake's senior counsel advice to appeal the matter. So is it that you lost confidence in Gary Griffith because he said about a year ago the fake oil matter is under investigation, that forensic auditors and people are coming, engineers are coming to investigate? Is that why you lost confidence in him? But that's what we see.
Sorry, I'm not hearing you.
Shane Powell from Newsday. I just wanted to know, earlier in your address you would have said that you had no confidence in the former police commissioner Gary Griffith a year ago. Just wanted to know what would have prompted that.
My judgment.
Prime Minister, was there any specific incident?
Listen, there are things that I deal with publicly, and there are things that I do not. I have no publicly stated that. That's a year ago. I could have published that letter a year ago. I could have told that a year ago. I did not. I tell you now.
You could not have published that letter a year ago, you insipid idiot. Your confession of a letter to the Police Service Commission as Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago with regards to the performance or lack of confidence that you have as a politician in the independent office of the Commissioner of Police to the Independent Police Service Commission is interfering and interfacing and trying to influence the process that could amount to misbehavior in public office. You are not to interact with the Police Service Commission. There is a specific procedure that has to be followed, from their independent work to the president, to the merit list, to the parliament. You could say what you want in parliament. All of this came about because they removed the veto power of the prime minister, but you feel like you still have, regardless of what is the law, the veto power. You have just admitted to interfering and interfacing. So, Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, I have some questions for you. Did you meet with the president on August 12th? So forget the imps, the pimps, and so on, right? We'll ask you those questions just now. But I am saying to you that Keith Christopher Rowley, you run your cabinet like a gang. Because I want to ask the population here. There are many other corrupt gang leaders and bandits and so on who wanted Gary gone. They lost confidence in Gary because they were unable to ply their trade because Gary was coming at them. He was performing, whether they like Gary or not. He was doing his work. 71% of the people say he was doing his work. So could those bandits and those bad officers and police involved in drug trafficking and arms and so on, could they have written to the Police Service Commission as citizens, as officers, and said, we have no confidence in the Commissioner of Police, and attempt to influence the Police Service Commission? The mere fact that the Police Service Commission is to be independent, it's not to be independent of the citizens. You know, the citizens can't influence them anyway. It is specifically to be independent of those who have power. And the most powerful position in Trinidad and Tobago under the Westminster system is the office of Prime Minister. So the process is actually created to keep the Prime Minister and other ministers and the cabinet away from the process, to not influence the process. That is the entire concept of the independence of the Police Service Commission and the process of appointing independent commissioners of police and deputy commissioners of police. It's the entire concept of separation of powers. And this man stands up there arrogantly and say he writing a letter to the Police Service Commission for them to lose confidence, or for him to influence them to lose confidence in Gary Griffith, even before they go into their independent assessment of his job, how he worked, and putting a merit list and interviewing. The Prime Minister is showing and admitting that he interfered from back then and had in his mind come to a decision that Gary Griffith must not have that work. Rowley, but let me ask you this way, because a gang leader can't call and Police Service Commission and say, hey boy, me like how Double G hung in we down, you know, you interfere in we sales and thing. But Rowley, you run your government like a gang. Let me put it, it's very serious. Rowley runs his cabinet and government like a gang. There's initiation to enter, whether you have to give pum-pum or you have to lick K-packs. You have to do a little initiation to get into Rowley circle. They have toppers, the recusers and so on, who get the big work and the big contracts and the big family benefits. And then they have the black benchers, just like a gang. You have the topper big boys, and you have the ground troops. They recruit members, the PNM, the cabinet, they go and recruit people to Balise House, and they indoctrinate them. Great is the PNM, great is they even wear little insignia and so on. It is something like a gang. The gang is also above all else. Gang members, they make you swear and get beat, they initiate, and the gang comes before everything: community, sport, school, work, family. The gang becomes number one. Rowley's gang, Balise House, Rowley, is number one before Trinidad and Tobago. Forget president, forget independent, forget EBC, forget independent institution, forget commissioner of police, forget dragging the flag. Balise House and Rowley is number one. Isn't it sounding like a bit of a gang that Rowley is running? Dissension in the gang, expulsion. Anybody who question Rowley outside, ask LeHunt, ask anybody, ask any board member, ask Winfred Espine. You don't do what Rowley said, you're outside. If you don't do what the gang leader say, you're outside. The Cosa Nostra, they keep everyone secret. And Rowley, like he read that and studied, he even talk it on the platform. They weaken all checks and balances. That's what gangs do. If you have CCTV cameras, they send out fellas to break the CCTV cameras. They put people up to make sure when patrol come in, they get information. They keep the people frightened so that they wouldn't call Crime Stoppers. Gangs stop all checks and balances so they could handle their business. Rowley takes out procurement legislation, guts it, reduces the procurement regulator, impacts independent institutions, put PNM appointees on the Police Service Commission on different boards. Even the procurement regulator was on a PNM board back in the past. The EBC tried to control the game. So, Rowley, if you are running your cabinet and your government like a gang, how you get to write the commissioner, write the Police Service Commission to tell them you have no confidence in the commissioner of police, the man who is to mash up gang? Rowley, you're confused. Now, Rowley just admitted to having mens rea. You see, a lot of people were trying to say, well, these things, this constitutional crisis, let's move on, Martin George and them. Well, this happened and they resigned, so let's put things in place so it wouldn't happen again. No. All stem from what Kamala Prasad-Bissessar said. Rowley, was it you there August 12th? But now we know that Rowley had in his head that Gary must go. He lost confidence. He wrote a letter. He intervened. He interfered. He interfered with the Police Service Commission a year ago to ensure that Gary is not the police commissioner. That's what he said. That's what he admitted there. All the lawyers, all the judges, all the former public servants, all of you in political science who understand separation of powers, go and listen to what our man said there. No? So this was a premeditated move. He lost confidence in Gary Griffith. What? Because Gary Griffith was just upholding the law and protecting the rights of citizens on their own property under the Constitution. So you lose confidence. So if he had done the wrong thing and go and lock up people, breach the Constitution, you would have had confidence in him. That's what you're saying, Rowley. All actions were motivated since then by get rid of Gary, including actions of the National Security Council. Now this thing gets serious. Rowley has admitted that he had lost confidence in Gary Griffith. He is the chairman of the National Security Council. Rowley took the decision to go and hire for free 2 fellows who were amenable to him and his National Security Council to go and gather a brief on Gary Griffith and the FUL licensing by the police. So Rowley had in his head, I have no confidence in Gary. Rowley then took action utilizing the National Security Council to try to gather information to get rid of Gary. I want all you following me now. That brought the entire National Security Council into a witch hunt, into a breach of the natural laws of natural justice. And it was untoward. Furthermore, he went further with that. He took his illegitimate brief without any real data evidence and not from a constitutionally recognized authority who could investigate, not the PCA, not the DPP, not a department of the police. His National Security Council that he chairs, when he had a mission, his mission was get rid of Gary. I have no confidence in Gary. Gather information on Gary. My National Security Council, I am going to hire these 2 fellas. I'm not going to pay them. They're going to do it because they love me and they're affiliated to me. And their information that they gathered, illegitimate, illegal information, Rowley then ensured that that information was transmitted to the Independent Police Service Commission, not only on August 12th to Bliss C. Prasad, facilitated by none other than Her Excellency the President, but it continued over a period of 3 or 4 meetings as enunciated by Roger Kewal Singh, attorney at law, that someone was continuing on August 26, August 27, 2020, and August 30th to try to provide evidence, but no paperwork was forthcoming. But they were giving testimony, they were talking, they were interacting with the Independent Police Service Commission, and this would have been disseminating that information and that brief that was initiated by Rowley in order to get Gary out. Does this sound like this is the normal process of law, natural justice? Or does this sound like a dictator, a mongoose gang, a witch hunt? Initiated, perpetuated, perpetrated, continued, and implemented by none other than the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, Keith Christopher Rowley. So Rowley weaponized the National Security Council against a sitting commissioner of police. He took that information that he wanted because he lost confidence in Gary Griffith, created processes that did not exist to try and create a cloud over Gary, utilizing the media, and again express and reiterate, you make your newspaper such a joke. The political PNM editor, the political editor of the Express. Because you were printing things before Gary Griffith even found out. Things that Etelbert told him, that Bliss C. Prasad echoed later on, printed before Gary Griffith was notified. You feel we forget? He also weaponized and ensured that the Police Service Commission, through its chair, Bliss C. Prasad, who was taking instructions from Rowley and Camille Robinson Regis as the chair of CDA board, as a member of that board. And that's why you must not have people who have interlocking directorships and are not independent and have connections to political parties. Because Rowley also was able to weaponize a portion of the Police Service Commission, because the Police Service Commission then went to hire former Justice Stanley John to investigate the same basic information that was weaponized by Rowley and collected by the National Security Council and disseminated to Bliss C. Prasad, who then hired Stanley John to investigate, all with a direct motive, a direct plan, so that Gary Griffith will not be the Commissioner of Police. It's up to you all now, people more intelligent than me. Is this interfacing? Is this interference? Is it misbehavior in public office? Is it an attempt to pervert the course of justice? Are these serious criminal offenses? Do they require investigation by the DPP? I ask you all, senior counsel. I ask Martin Daly. I ask Israel Khan. I ask Deborah Peak. I ask Martino. I ask Om Lala. We come down not only senior counsel, Om Lala, Larry Lala, all the attorneys. I ask you all. You all will hear from Kamala Prasad-Visesa, and you heard from her before. So the imps, chimps and pimps, Rowley, after he confesses today, he calls all the UNC under Kamala, myself, everybody, the 19 MPs, the 6 senators, all the members of the UNC, imps, pimps and chimps, who are questioning him when he confessed to some high crimes and misdemeanors. Well, Rowley, there are other people who are asking you the same question. Did you meet with the president on August 12th? Did you meet with Bliss C. Prasad on August 12, 2020? Since you lost confidence in Gary Griffith a year ago, was your hiring of 2 fellas for free to investigate Gary, was that a witch hunt? Since your motive was to remove Gary, then, by your definition, your interface with the commission chair was in fact interference, even by your definition. And the final question that all these imps, chimps and pimps would like to know is when you're resigning. And let me just give a list of some of the other imps, chimps and pimps that you call citizens of this country who are asking, was it you August 12th? Why did you go there? Why did the president facilitate you? Did you meet Bliss C. Prasad? And did you continue to make moves to ensure that Gary Griffith would not be Commissioner of Police? Well, Martin Daly, SC, has asked that question. Is he an imp, chimp, or pimp? Israel Khan, imp, chimp, or pimp? Rowley, which one? Kamala, Om Lala, Larry Lala, Emir Crown, which ones are they? Imps, pimps, or chimps? I never see them with no picture with the Copacabana, man. Express newspaper, 3 editorials. Guardian newspaper, 2 editorials. David Abdullah, leader of the MSJ. Is he an imp, chimp, or pimp? Ansel Roger, an imp, chimp, or pimp? 5 separate senior counsel. Ralph Maraj, Selwyn Cujo, Professor Diosaran. All these people are asking, what took place August 12, 2021? Are they imps, chimps, or pimps? Watson Duke, Farley Augustine. All we want to know, well, we know it was you. You have confessed to it. Well, boy, what can I say? Let us go to some videos now from before. Now that we have all this information, remember Kamala Prasad-Visesa asked Rowley from long time, was it you? She said, I have good information. This was about 21 days ago. That it was Keith Christopher Rowley who went and intercepted Bliss C. Prasad at President's house and had a meeting there and excited her with information. Kamala asked that question. And the question is slowly being answered. But now we can go back in hindsight and analyze the face, the words, and the lies coming out of Keith Christopher Rowley's mouth. I want you all to see what a dastardly, devilish human being Keith Rowley is. Archie, play the first video that is 31 seconds of Rowley talking way back then about interface and interference. Run it.
I can answer this one. With regards to the merit list that the previous PSC would have tabulated and supposed to have sent to the president but didn't, when the new PSC comes in play, would that merit list still be valid, or would you have to start the process all over again?
That's a lot of speculation. Let me make this abundantly clear. The government has a...
Mr. Prime Minister, during your response just now, you said you had confidence in the systems to work it out, and you had confidence that it will be worked out. Do you have confidence in the Police Service Commission and its members?
Well, I didn't say that. I said there were institutions, and I mean, I'm not picking and choosing. A number of institutions are involved here, and they're required to interface. No institution is an island unto itself. This question of an independent, this and an independent that, there is an interfacing between the various institutions. When you talk about interference is when you interface without good and proper reason. And none of that has happened by the political directorate as far as I know. I lead the government, and the government has not improperly interfaced with any of these agencies. Right? We have interfaced, but not improperly.
No, that was September 23rd. The first one, we go into that one just now. This man just said and tried to concoct and create a level of a new rung in the rule of law and separation of powers principle about interfacing, not becoming interference once your motive was a good one. Now that does not exist. Interface is interference because the independence principle is to keep the power, the political directorate, out of the system. Stay clean. Keep the water pristine. Don't put no poo-poo in it. Don't put no Rowley PNM in the water. Don't put no sewer water with a Talbot in that water. Keep that water clean and pristine. Stay away from it. Don't communicate. Don't interact. Don't write. That has nothing to do with you. That's the principle. So once you breach that, you're already interfering. But let's go to his concocted asinine definition that he said. He said you could interface, but once you don't have bad motive, it's not interference. Okay? He admitted today that he lost confidence in Gary Griffith, and therefore that interfacing that he was doing was to ensure that Gary Griffith would not get a job that he may have been in line for, that he may independently, based on his track record, his performance, his interview, and the independent ranking system of the Police Service Commission, he may be #1 on the list. Rowley interfaced to interfere, to intervene, to ensure that Gary Griffith was not given a fair chance by the Independent Police Service Commission. There can be no motivation more disgusting, nasty, wicked, and malicious. So by Rowley's concocted definition, his interfacing was interference and misbehavior in public office. Furthermore, that was September 23rd. Now go back, he knows, and actually I want to play that short one more time, right? Look at his face. Now keep in mind that he knows it was him. Because since then at the vaccination site, when asked by the media, he said, yes, it's me. I keep the president informed. Now he's trying to change and add on to the story. Not change, but add on. But I want you to look at this video now and look at this man's face. He knows at the time he's speaking there that the man who went to President's house on August 12th and interfaced and interfered with Bliss Prasad, the chairperson, and the president was in fact himself. That he went, look at this pathological lying human being. Watch him good.
I can answer this one. With regards to the merit list that the previous PSC would have tabulated and supposed to have sent to the president but didn't, when the new PSC comes in play, would that merit list still be valid, or would you have to start the process all over again?
That's a lot of speculation. Let me make this abundantly clear. The government has a rule. The attorney for the government, the Attorney General, has a rule. We do certain...
I don't know what's going on with Archie. Archie, wrong one. The short one, the same one, the short one, play it again. I want you all to look at Rowley talking on September 23rd, knowing full well that August 12th, it was him who went to interfere with Bliss and with the president. Run it. You just played, Archie. I mean, you can't find it. You now played it. The shorter one, just now you played the wrong one first and you corrected it. The corrected one. You find it? All right, well, let me move on. Me, I know what's going on there. The second video with Al-Rawi now, while Archie will find that. Keep that in your mind. But I wanted you all to see, because you have to see what this human being is. But this same one that we're watching here that Archie want to play right now all the time, this one, I want you to listen to this one. Because Faris Al-Rawi has now joined Rowley as a convicted parliamentary liar. But listen to this, what he's saying carefully. Because when you even listen to Al-Rawi here, he's sinking Rowley. Whether he knows intentionally or unintentionally, he's sinking Rowley. Because he's giving you exactly how independent offices are supposed to operate. So on the left side, one man lying through his teeth. And like on the right side, this fella didn't get the memo. And he kind of talked the truth about the principle of separation of powers. Run it, Archie.
Answer this one. With regards to the merit list that the previous PSC would have tabulated and supposed to have sent to the president but didn't, when the new PSC comes in play, would that merit list still be valid, or would you have to start the process all over again?
That's a lot of speculation. Let me make this abundantly clear. The government has a rule. The attorney for the government, the Attorney General, has a rule. We do certain things, we take to Parliament. In this whole appointment process, our rule ended when the order was upheld. That order is not even under challenge. What the Police Service Commission does, the Constitution says it does. And they act independently under Section 123 of the Constitution. What the Office of the President does is specified in the Constitution as well. So none of us have a rule on what an independent Police Service Commission may or may not do. We would be quite simply out of place to volunteer that, let alone on any speculation, because we don't know any of that.
As a matter of law, the previous PSC had a merit list. It was not submitted to the president.
But how do you know that?
Well,
So you're acting on speculation. Listen, office holders have to act on facts, not speculation. Facts are what we have to deal with, because if we step outside of constitutional rules, we have anarchy. We must recognize that there's active politics and agendas and, he say, she say, that's all, whatever it is. The Prime Minister's call it red herrings and smoke herrings and whatever it might be. The point is, the Constitution is absolutely clear in Section 123 that the Police Service Commission acts of its own accord, and that has been upheld by our courts as well. In the Haridat Maraj case, the independence of the Police Service Commission was again a reminder to this country. So the judgment by Madam Justice Kangaloo on the 14th is going to speak to what the Constitution says. I must say that I'm slightly disappointed that my friends in the media have not been clear as to what the facts are. You have to go to the documents. The facts are the Constitution is being asked to be interpreted, and that's what the judge will do. Nothing else is under challenge.
He just sink Rowley. Now understand what he just said. What he said there was actually correct. Constitutional roles are well defined, and once you get involved in roles that are not in your lane, you have anarchy. The Police Service Commission is absolutely independent and has their job to do. The government has their job to do, and the government's job ended at a certain point with the order in Parliament. Rowley said today that he a year before was vexed or didn't like what Gary do. He lost confidence, and he wrote a letter to the Police Service Commission, breach of the lines that Al-Rawi spoke about, that he went August 12th to inform the president because that's his duty to keep her informed, and Blessy Prasad was there. And he, on August 26th, 27th and 30th, continued to try to give information to the Police Service Commission, breaching the tenets of separation of powers, and therefore, according to Al-Rawi, Rowley is instituting anarchy in Trinidad and Tobago, and that's why we have a constitutional crisis. Al-Rawi, while he spoke the truth there, Al-Rawi lied in the Parliament on Kamla Prasad Bisesa. Kamla Prasad Bisesa mashed him up in the budget like chili bibi. And he just started to cry, and he came out, he sat down, he contemplated, premeditated, and came out and uttered false words in the hallowed halls of the Parliament. And then Rudal Munilal caught him. Dinesh Rambali first, and then Rudal Munilal brought a motion. And Al-Rawi had to come to the Parliament and apologize for blatantly lying on Kamla Prasad Bisesa. And the media, an attorney general being caught in the highest court of the land, fabricating, lying during a budget presentation, and having to come at the first instance and apologize and withdraw. An attorney general who is also involved in all kind of imbroglio with Porsche car, licensing, letter, check letter and cash that did not stamp, immunity deals with witness in criminal matters, crossing boundaries of the DPP. Remember what Al-Rawi just said, when you cross boundaries and you don't stay in your lane, you are promoting anarchy. So when an attorney general jumps in the DPP lane and interferes with a witness in a criminal case and signs documents and indemnities and immunities with a witness to bring a statement that later is being used in a criminal case, there he is promoting anarchy by his definition. The Express put it on page 6. The Newsday put it on page 9 in a little corner here. What's that? Attorney General caught lying, the Attorney General of the government. And look, page 9 where they put that. And then the Guardian, the entire newspaper here, the Guardian did not even mention it, did not even print it. The Guardian did not even print that the Attorney General of the People's National Movement, this number 2 ranked member in the cabinet, was caught lying, frank comment in the Parliament, casting aspersions on the character of the leader of the opposition, a former Prime Minister. The Guardian ain't even print. They pretend like that didn't even happen. That's your country, and that's why we need to be very careful, because when the media cannot tell the truth, they are also promoting anarchy. Well, let's see the video now, Archie. Let's see Mr. Mascara Man, Mr. Arrogant Clown, who just got up in the Parliament, not a piece of paper, not a deed, no information, no land ownership, no cabinet note, no lease agreement, no property, no names, and just lied on Kamla Prasad Bisesa and saying that her family members got rentals when she was Prime Minister, just because he, as Attorney General, rent out his own building to himself and outfitted his own building. He looking for company? Run it, Archie.
The statements were relative to the rental of properties under the government by the member for Siparia. My contribution was not read from a prepared speech at the time. I had official documents which I verily believed supported the statements which I made. In addition, the member for Siparia was not in the chamber at the time of my contribution and made no refutation upon the conclusion of my contribution. Further, no other member of the opposition took objection to my statements, nor was there any request for clarifications at the time of or upon conclusion of my contribution. It has come to my attention that the member for Oropouche East has since refuted my statements, which reflected upon the member for Siparia. In those circumstances, I withdraw my statements and hereby apologize to the member for Siparia.
I want to say that clearly, and for the record and the Hansard, that the leader of the opposition, member for Siparia, has no family rental, none whatsoever. And that if anybody is coming to say that, I would have thought that they would have provided some kind of detail, but they cannot. And the reason why they cannot is because it just simply does not exist.
Further, no other member of the opposition took objection to my statements, nor was there any request for clarifications at the time of or upon conclusion of my contribution.
Member for Siparia has no family rental, none whatsoever.
That man lied in his apology about lying. All you understand where we are in this country, all you want to decide, oh, Kamala, we ain't like Kamala, me ain't like Anil. All you still want to do that? The Attorney General lied. And then, when he come to apologize, he lied again. All you saw it there. And he didn't lie once in that apology, you know. He also lied again by saying that the member for Oropouche East, he said no member of the opposition took objection to my statements, nor was there a request for clarification at the time or upon conclusion of my contribution. Total fabrication. He said, in addition, the member for Siparia was not in the chamber at the time of my contribution and made no refutation upon the conclusion of my contribution. The member for Siparia had just completed, she was in the caucus room, and the COVID-19 regulations mean that once you have contributed, you come out and sit right there. So you don't stay in the chamber. The chamber is not full. All 22 PNM MPs and all 19 UNC do not sit in the chamber. So that is disingenuous and another lie. He also lied because he said, and this is the third lie in the apology. I want you all to be clear what I am speaking of. He lied the time before in the budget. Franco men lied. And in his apology, withdrawing and apologizing, he lied twice so far, and here the third one. The Attorney General offered his apology to Prasad Bisesa, indicating that at the time he made the statement, he had official documents which I verily believe supported the statements which I made. What documents? What you had? What you verily believe? Which document? A lease, a cabinet note, a property, a cadastral sheet? What you had? And hear what? If you had it, and then he says, Oropouche East has since refuted my statements, which reflected upon the member of Siparia. In those circumstances, I withdraw my statements and hereby apologize. So you had documents. And because Munilal say you lie, your documents, you throw them away. You have no more documents. Faris are a liar. Boy, all you're so sickening, it's not funny. Honorable members, and here, the speaker, Madam Blue here's she now. And I want you all listening, you know. Honorable members, as the guardian of the privileges of this house, I must remind each of you that freedom of speech is regarded as the most valuable and most essential privilege enjoyed by members. Your words spoken in the course of proceedings are protected only to the extent that the privilege is not abused. You could really read that out with a straight face as the member for Diego Martin West is the Prime Minister of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago and has come there and put you to sit there based on the lies of Emailgate, a motion of no confidence in a Prime Minister and other ministers, including the man who is now being rejected, and games are being played and misbehavior in public office and interference in independent work of Police Service Commission is going on, Gary Griffith. That man stood there for an hour and 15 minutes and read from total pieces of toilet paper, concocted, fabricated, and printed. Having had them for 6 months and knowing full well that they were not emails, he brought that and desecrated the Parliament. And you have the audacity to talk about responsibility and truth and so on when you sit on the seat put there by a liar, Keith Christopher Rowley. Madam Speaker, you really serious? All your PNM really serious? Let me tell you something about independence. And be very careful. Because Kamala Prasad is making some serious moves. Okay? She takes no pride in doing it. But the office of the president has been dragged down in the mud by Keith Christopher Rowley. Now the president, a strong, independent, intelligent woman, has allowed her political bias and her affinity for some reason to allow her to stay silent. And therefore, every day that she has been silent, which is bordering on 21 days now, and longer, because August 12th was a long time ago, she brings the office into disrepute. But let me put it to you this way. And I know today you're thinking hard, but I'll leave you with this one. I ran out of time, but I want you to focus on this. Focus on the word independence. What does being independent mean? And why do we need independent institutions? Especially to protect against power positions, so our democracy, there are checks and balances. So I put it to you that this motion brought by the leader of the opposition to remove the president, I've already seen, and I'm going to count one by one, any PNM member of the executive, member of the government, member of the executive arm of the government, who defends the president's actions is literally being a witness against her to show that she is not independent. Because if she's truly independent, there should be no defense either side, because independent action requires no support. It's not partisan, and there's no politics. So already Laura Lazama leasing PRO for the PNM and Camille Robinson Regis and Rowley have come out swinging, defending Paula May Weeks. Well, that already tells the citizens, the entire structure, the entire population, that the presidency is not independent. A presidency that is independent requires no support, argument, or propping up of either political side. And every single PNM minister who defends the president is further digging that hole for the presidency to fall deep into the chasm of Balisade juice. It is a very serious thing. Think about that as you go to sleep. As the PNM is defending the independent office of the president. Good night.
We are in unprecedented times. For the first time in our nation's history, we have no substantive commissioner of police. We have no acting commissioner of police. No substantive deputy commissioner of police, and no acting deputy commissioner of police. serve the TTPS are totally rudderless, leaderless, headless. With the support of my 18 elected MPs in the House of Rep, I have filed a motion in Parliament pursuant to Section 36 of the Constitution for the establishment of a tribunal to investigate the removal of Her Excellency Paula May Weeks, ORTT, as President of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. That the President has behaved in such a way as to bring her office into hatred, ridicule, or contempt. That the President has willfully violated the Constitution, and that the President has endangered the safety and security of a nation, of the state. It is my view now that the motion is warranted with regard to all the circumstances in the public domain. No one is above the law, and the law is applied equally. The judge changed her order in the night again. I'll tell you more of what went on in that court yesterday and last night. First, the judge had ruled that the entire 2021 order was unconstitutional, null and void. That was said in the open court. So the judge made a minor amendment. So you have the highest offices of our land, President, Prime Minister, Attorney General, embroiled in all kinds of, in Trinidad what they say, kankalang, word to that effect. These high offices. And now I have to question whether the judiciary is not also getting embroiled in these things. Whether there's interference with the judiciary, you have to ask that when I give you the sequence of events from the court ruling. To register first our deep concern over the fact that the court revised its orders after the court received an email correspondence. So I told you one thing said in court, they revised it later in the night. Afterward, they got emails from the lawyers for the Attorney General, lawyers for the Police Service Commission, a dead Police Service Commission,